Well, hello everybody again. It's him, the Puzzle Master, and Puzzle Master's crazy sidekick Tristan, and we're going to be doing a little video on astrology, specifically the planets in astrology, what they mean, and just in general, wherever each planet happens to be in your chart is, means something specific, but to be able to figure that out on your own without having to look it up, you can do that by knowing what the planets mean and what the signs mean, and then you'll know what the planets mean in every sign. And bada bing, bada boom, you'll know astrology.
And I want to add in here that it's very important to know the hour of your birth, because if you're just looking at your chart and you're punching in noon, if you go to like 6 a.m. versus 6 p.m., your moon sign is going to vary like up to 6 degrees on each side. I mean, like compared to noon is in the middle. So that's a 12-degree range. And if you're very close to a cusp where your moon sign falls, then it's very important to know your hour. You can kind of go, what would you call it, like intuitively by what sign would vibrate more with how you feel. But it is really better to get your birth hour, especially for conjunctions and like different aspects in your chart, like how different things align. It's better to have it at the exact moment of birth, so you can have a more detailed and accurate analysis on your personality traits, because it's heavily linked to psychology, like depending on where these different elements are placed in your birth chart.
Yeah, I mean, for most planets it doesn't really matter, but like Billy said, for the moon, it matters a little bit, and for the ascendant, it actually matters a lot. Like, even a couple hours can make a huge difference. So,
because what is the ascendant?
And the ascendant is the basis for all the houses, as well as the ascendant says a lot about your personality. I mean, it's not technically a planet, so we're not going to be getting into that in this video.
And the ascendant's like your body. Like it's like in the video we're going to be discussing, Venus is kind of like your physical body, but very heavily influenced in your chart is the sun sign and your ascendant and your moon sign. So if you don't want to look at all the planets like we're going to discuss in this video, if you just look at those three, an analogy I like to use is if you think about either light or paint and you're combining different colors and characteristic traits together, the final net result that you get is from mixing all of your different unique individual planet traits together. So should we go into it
so
for them?
let's do the planets. Yeah, let's start with the sun.
And I just wanted to add in to people is that I had some comments that like you like seeing Tristan in my videos, so here he is. So
here I am. So the sun, not technically a planet, it's a star, but for purposes of astrology, it's a planet, just like all the others. It goes across the sky, just like every other planet. So
it's in the heavens.
Why not? It's actually, not only is it a planet, it's the planet. It's the most important planet. It's the beginning of everything. It sort of sets the basis for who you are.
Everything revolves around it. So like heliocentric, and then you also want to look at what's the only sign in the zodiac that is ruled by the sun, and that's Leo. So the lion.
I was going to guess Leo.
Were you? They were going to guess it too. They know.
Yeah.
You know this stuff too. At least a little bit. Can't read your mind.
But the sun is sort of where your beginning is, and most people know their sun signs. That's like, based on your date of birth, whatever, September 23rd to October 23rd. Oh, I'm a Libra. It says that in the newspapers. That's, if you know anything about astrology, you know your sun sign, and everybody out there knows their sun sign. So it's not your whole self, but it's the basis for yourself. Moon sign, that's an important one. The moon is the next planet. It's a big thing in the sky, so it has a huge effect in astrology as well, almost as big as the sun. It's the reflection of the sun. It's basically how you see yourself and what you strive to be. So wherever your moon sign is in your chart, that's sort of what that means.
And your moon is, when you're looking at a horoscope in a newspaper, that's telling you what your sun sign is. But it's very important to look at your moon sign, because the moon represents your emotional self. Like where your sun sign is kind of how you project yourself externally to the world, as the sun does. The moon reflects the energy. And this is kind of hidden in your core. So it's kind of how you perceive the world, but not how the world perceives you.
Okay, so moving on to Mercury. It's the next step in everything. Kind of a
That's my
link.
ruling planet.
Not mine, but kind of a link to.
I even got Mercury. My moon sign is Gemini, and I have Mercury in Gemini. You know what that means? Me. So I can explain shit.
But I mean, I guess the Mercury kind of connects what your self or your inner self to your outer self. It's the
bridge.
Ego to the id. The bridge, the link, the communication. It kind of defines exactly what you are, and
not necessarily through just like dialogue, but it can be through poetry. It could be through art, like drawing. Whatever is a method of expressing your inner self to the world, other people depending on their sign, because, they say beauty and all that is in the eye of the beholder. Well, so is like all of our perception. It's in the eye of the beholder.
That's right, and I also think it can be like through your mannerisms, just through how you live your daily life, even if it isn't like,
Exactly.
through speaking or through arts. It's just how you, how you convey yourself. Sun is how other people see you, moon is how you see yourself, Mercury is more how you choose to convey yourself to the rest of the world. And there's a million ways you can do that.
And then Venus. Venus is like the god of beauty, the god of love. In your natal chart, it kind of also shows you your mother, or it can show you your future wife or like a spouse. It has to do with the senses. So like because they say beauty is all about you gotta stop to smell the flowers. Well, what is that? That's one of your senses. You know what I mean? And that's what Venus is all about. And for example, I'm a Taurus sun sign. Tristan is
I'm a Libra sun sign.
Yeah, both ruled by Venus, but they're like different projections because they come through different moon signs and different aspects of our chart. So even though we have that commonality, there is other different aspects of us.
And such it is. So then the next step after Venus is Mars. So Venus was the senses, and Mars sort of is the first step towards making that real. From going from, taking this self that you perceive or that other people perceive, whatever, and making it part of the real world. So for that, it's a source of conflict. Billy has long hair, by the way, in case you didn't notice.
Got Jesus hair going on here.
Mars is a sense of assertiveness, not letting people interrupt you would be a good, Martian trait. Rules Aries and rules Scorpio.
But it also rules all of the wars going on right now in the world.
Mars was the god of war.
Because people are like, hey, I have my unique individual self, and I'm going to stand up for it. And if you have a different opinion than me, fuck you, because we're just going to go to war. Because my opinion's right. Basically, that's what Mars is all about. So all of the, wars going on right now, anything has to do with, like they say the sun is, heliocentric, so it has a lot to do with ego. Well, Mars, if you think about it, is a circle with the arrow coming out of it. So it's actually how you are going to take that ego energy, and now you're going to fight for it. It's that fighting, driving force.
'Tis indeed. So then Jupiter, the gods of gods, for the equivalent of Zeus, just as Mercury was the Roman.
It's the
Hermes.
force.
It's the force. Yeah, the force.
Very, very lucky as well, and it looks like the number 4.
A cross with a thingy on it.
Yeah,
to make a 4.
Yeah.
Something like that. But anyway, that's what takes this the conflicts in the world, and pushes it sort of as the force that pushes it, as voltage pushes electricity, as you can use any number of metaphors, but it pushes it towards reality, pushes it towards the making who you are yourself in the real world. And Jupiter is a sort of a Pisces and Sagittarius sign.
And Jupiter is also all about expansion. So wherever Jupiter falls in your chart, it's going to expand upon those traits. Like, it's a benefic planet, not malevolent. So wherever it falls in your place, like wherever it falls in your natal chart's place, it's going to amplify character traits of that.
Unless it's in retrograde. But
even when it's in retrograde, you have to look up what retrogrades all mean, because
maybe that'll be another video.
Yeah, maybe it will.
But we'll see.
Continuing.
Yeah, moving on.
Want me to do Neptune?
We have to do Saturn first. So Saturn's
skipping
kind of my
Saturn.
forte, but yeah, you would
Saturn.
do that. I love Saturn. Saturn's knowledge, higher reasoning.
Boring as fuck.
No, learn about anything. Yeah.
Anything.
Indeed. Physical limitations of the real world. So that's knowing, all the other planets up to now have just been, your dreams and desires and ambitions. Now we're like, how do you bring that into the real world? What are the constraints you have to deal with? And absolutely, and yeah, how the knowledge you have to get to know those constraints and how to overcome them, or how to move the limits, how to go beyond the limits.
So and higher knowledge and education. So people that have very strong placed Saturn in their chart are going to be very strong learners. And you can also look at what each sign is ruled by. We haven't really gone into that. But Saturn is ruled by Aquarius and Capricorn. And Capricorn is very notorious for being a hard, strong worker. And Aquarius is known for being a little aloof or detached. Like, no offense. But that's his moon sign.
So point of pride.
So when you look at Saturn, it's going to show you where your draw in this world is when it comes to higher education. As well as when you look at what house it falls under, it's going to show you what area of your life specifically you are more interested in learning about. So, for example, mine's all in the philosophy. I have Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, all of the outer planets. I have 4 in retrograde. I'm born in 88. If you are, let me know what you think all that retrograde is about, because it's crazy. Because you just got it all coming in at you.
Okay, time to be Neptunian. We'll just zip through the outer planets.
Yeah, Neptune is all about psychic power, going beyond reality to other realms. It is connections to other people in an emotional and in a psychic, watery, elemental way.
Yeah, Neptune's like Poseidon, very, oceanic, watery.
Tell them.
I just did.
It's oceanic and watery, because when you look at the god of Poseidon, he's often holding that trident.
Neptune's a trident. That's the symbol for Neptune. Uranus. Okay, so this is one of the more newly discovered planets. Not until the 17th century was it discovered. It's innovating, has filled with new energy, looking into the future, because at the time the future was the big thing, and it drives evolution to the next thing. Aquarius is a Uranian planet.
Yeah, because it has that that driving force to the people to drive change. It's not like Taurus at all, that has to do with traditional values. It's all about expanding horizons and creating new realms of thought.
Right. Then Pluto was kind of added in the 20th century after it was discovered, dealing with conflict, destruction, death, rebirth, sort of just reevaluating yourself, renewing yourself.
And that's why they attributed it to Scorpio, because that's what Scorpio is all about.
And they're all,
We're cutting it off now because we're approaching the end, but give them a watch.
Love
Subscribe
you all,
and like,
subscribe
and we'll see you later.
And see you later.